Greetings, everyone. Lead Adventurer, back at you again. Welcome back to the adventure. You might have guessed from the thumbnail and the video title. Today I'd like to piggyback off of something Crowder was talking about in his cold open yesterday. If you haven't started watching Crowder, man, what are you doing? But if you're here, you probably do. Mental health is at the forefront of the conversation right now in this country. And I've made no secret of the fact that I'm, as insofar as I can, I am a mental health advocate. I'm a mental health citizen expert, without any professional background or any educational background in it. I have as much expertise as you really can have, I think. And I'm a sufferer from 3 different mental health diagnoses. And Crowder made some points in his cold open that go under talked about in the mental health conversation, largely, in my opinion, because the left wants to suppress the points he made, largely because they are solutions that you yourself can act upon and implement into your life right now. And we all know how much the left hates self-reliance. They hate independence. And the left also seems to hate it when you take money away from Big Pharma. So I'd like to go through his cold open and talk about his points. Let's do it.
Hey there, glad to be with you. Sometimes we do these cold opens. This is the last week of Free Mug Club month, so if you want this to continue, we do encourage you to go and sign up. But I want to take an opportunity to talk about something here. I know. Oh, look at this. I just went midget height. People often talk about mental health in this country, and they only do it when either a celebrity dies or there's a shooting and it's thrown around like a political football. And it's very generalized. And in meeting some of you this week, and there's one person in particular.
It is very generalized, and the specificity of types of mental illnesses, their causes, and their effects is something that needs to get talked more about, and it needs to be better understood by the general public. And what needs to be also talked about is things like how the condition of a society, the stability of a society, and the things that are prevalent in a society affect the mental health of the people in said society. And then we need to have a talk about things like MK Ultra and how the government is not exactly acting in the best interest of the people.
Who discussed with me that this show has helped this person, and thank you to that lady whom I spoke with at I'll just say it, Quick Trip. It wasn't Racetrack. Maybe want to take a second to talk about this. We talk about mental health. It's often very generalized. And what people will often say, you'll see whether it's on CNN or somewhere, they say, don't be afraid to go get help. And by the way, that still stands, just to be clear.
And he doesn't get into this. I watched this through already, spoiler. He doesn't get into this. And this is something that needs to be said in the go get help talking point, and it's almost never said. You need to have a mentality of shopping around for the counselor that's right for you. I have been in and out of mental health care my entire life. I've had almost a dozen mental health care professionals or healthcare professionals acting in a mental health care fashion towards me over my life, and 3 of them have been effective. 3 out of nearly a dozen. I can't remember the exact number right now, and I'm not going to waste time on camera doing it. So you get the point. And especially, this is something Jordan Peterson talks a lot about because it's his professional background. The quality of mental health care professional is dropping precipitously. because of things like Marxist indoctrination in the colleges, things like the infiltration of gender ideology. And if you're someone with gender dysphoria and you want to go into a counselor in a Western country today and get help resolving your gender dysphoria, you're better off keeping it to yourself and working on it your damn self, because the odds are pretty damn good that a mental health care professional in a Western civilization right now will tell you to get on hormones. And that's a huge problem. I mean, that's a huge problem. So, you need to shop around for a counselor that's right for you. I used a service for the last counselor. One of the last counselors that I found was ultimately one of the best ones I've had in my life. Was found through a service called Faithful Counseling. It's a faith-based counseling service. And I was able to talk to a counselor that shared some of my fundamental belief structures, and I think that is key to finding a counselor that will actually work for you, is interacting with a mental health professional who shares some of your fundamental belief structures, looks at the world through a similar lens as you. Because if you look at the world in a similar way, then your counselor is going to be able to point to the flaws in your worldview and your view of yourself and say, well, hold on. You know, if you don't have anything in common with your counselor, they're not going to be able to get through to you. So you need to shop around for a mental health professional that you can actually connect with. On forward.
You should get help. Help is good. By the way, it's the red tide. I'm sick here today in case you're wondering about my voice. But I also understand that some of you out there may not know where to go for help. You right now may feel like you can't afford help, or maybe you're in a rut and that first step seems monumental to go.
By the way, BetterHelp offers discounts for low-income people. FYI. BetterHelp, Faithful Counseling, they're owned by the same organization. I believe they still do discounted services for people who are financially struggling. Just an FYI. Don't hold me to that. I don't know. I'm not currently using the service.
Go into an office to meet somebody, do a pre-interview, and get some help. Well, let me tell you something. I've done it. I've been getting help, for lack of a better word, for most of my adult life. And hopefully I can impart some of that help here without you taking that first step, which I encourage you to do. First, let me describe what sometimes this feels like and ask yourself if it's you. Does it feel like some people are just wired this way? And by the way, sometimes rewiring needs to take place. And
rewiring is literally possible. If you think that you can't rewire your brain to work differently, look into the scientific field of neuroplasticity. It is very much possible, and you can do it. Sometimes you can do it with something as simple as a daily habit, a piece of chocolate, some exercise. Sometimes you need stronger pharmaceuticals, stronger behavioral conditioning, but literally rewiring your brain is indeed possible. I have done it.
Can do it, but it's a matter of degree. But for some people out there, this you joy is harder maybe to come by.
Very much so.
People,
that's one that I'm still working on being able to come by that easily. You know, if you follow my other content channels, if you're feeling adventurous, YouTube and Rumble, please go sign up at Rumble. Go hit the follow button on Rumble. And especially over on the Twitch stream, if you're feeling adventurous Twitch, you see that I look for any excuse to laugh. I laugh at my own jokes. And I try to make the environment as jovial and upbeat as possible, because laughter is the only thing that pushes away the pain and the darkness for me. Laughter and adrenaline. It's the only things that make this world bearable. And that's, you know, everyone has their own their thing that they prefer for pushing the pain away. People that are like me and Crowder, who have that, they live with that sense of ache, of longing, joy of being harder to come by, however you phrase it. But yeah, you need to find your thing, and you need to find a healthy source to get it.
We'll often talk about depression or anxiety. Let's put a finer point on it. Is joy harder to come by for you as it is for some people? And that's just a fact. Some people aren't naturally as joyous. For me, I often experience joy through other people. It's why I always liked coaching more than competing. It's why I love doing Change My Minds rather than debates. It's why we do the show the way that we do, because bringing you joy is kind of one of those things that for me does help part those clouds by far. Even though these are just some steps, not a solution, and the show is meant to be.
He's about to give you 3 steps. I can verify that all of these are both. What's funny about these 3 steps he's about to give is they are all scientifically and biblically based. There's biblical precedent and scientific precedent for all of these being effective for taking care of your mental health. Listen to the man.
Helpful, meant to actually, in a tangible way, in a quantifiable way, help you live your life. I'm completely confident the steps I'm about to outline will help everyone, not cure everyone, but help everyone, and at the very least.
Although they would cure. I don't like putting percentages on things like this, but I'm willing to bet at least 1/3 of the people in this country who are currently on a mental health medication, if they implemented these steps, if they went cold turkey on their meds, and implemented these steps instead and were diligent about them, they'd find they didn't need their meds. And I'm pretty confident about that. Might be 20%, might be 50%, but you get the point. A lot of people can completely fix their mental health with what he's about to tell you.
At least do no harm. They're not capable of doing harm. And just for reference, yes, there are longer books out there that will help you more in depth. Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, fantastic. This is not a panacea or replacement, but this is how I can best distill and offer, I guess, that first rung on the ladder. It's 3 things. The end of this describes you. Number 1, your overall health. Nutrition, physical activity, sleep. If you haven't even tried that, let alone dialed it in, do that first, okay, before you take a pill. And I'm not saying that there's no appropriate scenario to take a pill. Dial in your physical health. It will help everyone. And with that comes, more importantly, structure and discipline to achieve that, which brings me to number.
Now, he doesn't get into details on that one, but as someone who is a medical professional to some extent, personal trainer, certified decompression chamber operator, I have some medical background, and I'm going to share some details about that one. First of all, your hormone levels are under constant assault by the world you live in. The processed garbage that the American culture calls food is destroying your hormone levels. The microplastics that are ubiquitous in our food supply, in our clothing, in our hygiene products, they are destroying your hormone levels, especially if you're a man. The forever chemicals that they use as pesticides, glyphosate, atrazine, other pollutants that you find in the water, female birth control that you find in the water, pharmaceutical drugs that's in the drinking water, cocaine that's in drinking water because people piss it out and it makes it back into the water supply, methamphetamine, all these things. Your body is under constant assault by the world you live in. These pollutants, they're everywhere. If people will tell you this, no matter what people tell you who are from the government or the water company, listen, I'm here to tell you your water is not as clean as it should be. Your food's not as clean as it should be. The number one thing you can do to improve your health is to work out every day, or at least at a minimum 3 times a week for an hour. Really, you need to get more exercise in. If you're not someone who's a gym rat like me, you need to get more exercise in. And past that, buy organic meat, go to a local butcher if you can, ask him if he uses hormones and antibiotics and all that crap. If the farms he buys from uses that crap, if he doesn't, buy your meat there. Wash your vegetables. Purified water, baking soda solution will take the wax, the pesticides, all that crap off the surface of your veggies, make them much safer to eat. And eliminate as many plastic containers, plastic utensils from your life as possible. Those steps will immensely improve the condition of your body, which translates to immensely improving the condition of your mind. After that, you need to find out if you have any trigger foods. For me, dairy is inflammatory to excess. I eat dairy, my skin breaks out. I have eczema. Dairy is one of the foods that aggravates it to excess. Everyone's trigger food is differently. And, if you're constantly itchy and your skin hurts, it's going to impact your mental health, both at a conscious level and at a biochemical level. So, the get your health in order one, I'd say 30% of people on a mental health medication, if not 50 or 60% of you, you could completely eliminate that medication from your life if you got your diet and exercise in order. And by the way, if you get your diet and exercise in order, the sleep happens naturally. Once your body is working the way it's supposed to, you just start sleeping easier and better.
Number 2, I want you to try a 60-day challenge here. This isn't a meme. It's not owling. Nothing like that. It's not Tide Pods. I want you to try 60 days doing these things. Your mental health, meaning your physical health, your diet, your exercise, your sleep. And I want you to change your mind to a mindset of get up and do it anyway. Okay, try it for 60 days. Switch your mindset to that of, it sounds simple, but do the steps required to do this, to get up and do it anyway. Don't feel like getting out of bed? Get up and do it anyway.
A little bit of self-discipline goes a long way, folks.
Don't feel like calling your mom, which you know you owe. Get up and do it anyway. The same, by the way, applies to the rest of these. If you don't feel like taking time to contemplate, to recover, to plan, get up and do it anyway. For 60 days, try that. And then I want you to combine this with, I've talked about this before, but I think it's important and worth reiterating. Number 3, gratitude. And I don't mean this like some Pinterest quote.
Now, this might sound like one of those things that's more biblical. Oh, how can being gracious improve my mental health? How can being glad for the shithole life I have change my mental health? Listen to Jordan Peterson. Take it from a world-renowned, multiple peer-reviewed and essay published psychologist. Mindset is so much of mental health. And when you live in a mindset of being gracious, being grateful for the things that you have, instead of bemoaning the bad things in your life, instead of complaining constantly, being grateful for the good things you have, it changes your perspective, and it changes the ambient thoughts in your head, and your thoughts have power over your body. If you're constantly thinking about stressful things, guess what? You produce more cortisol. You produce more cortisol, now your body is in a constant stress response. Your body's in a constant stress response. Your heart rate goes up. Your heart rate goes up, and it produces a cascade of other things. All because you're dwelling on negative thoughts. Your mindset directly affects your body directly affects your mind. Be grateful.
But if you are looking for some answers, just for some improvement, for 60 days, try these 3 things. 1, take care of your health. 2, get up and do it anyway. Switch your mindset to that. And 3, list what you are grateful for, what you appreciate as often as you can do it. And then after that, hopefully, you go get some help, because life gets better. Things get better. And yes, you cannot control everything. That's absolutely true. But there are things you can control right now to make your life better. 60 days. Start now. Immediately. Try it. Love you. On with the show.
Now, everything he just said there, again, biblically and scientifically accurate, and it's also based in the conservative mindset. You know, something that goes without saying, anyone who knows anything about the real difference between political affiliations knows this. And it's something that conservatives have got to get better about the messaging on. And we need to start telling stories. We need to start forming narratives around this. Here's the fundamental difference between conservatism and modern liberalism, modern progressivism. Conservatives say you can do it yourself. Liberals say you need the government or you need the tribe. Conservatives say empower yourself, become competent. Liberals say everything's oppressing you, you need the mob. Conservatives say there's hope, there's a solution, you can find it. Progressives, liberals say the opposite. And the same thing applies to mental health. Everything he just said is true. Everything he just said is scientifically, biblically, and just commonsensically verifiable. I know sensically isn't a word. I'm doing a bit. Taking care of your physical health has immense impact on your mental health. Diet, exercise, and sleep hygiene are all things that you can do right now. You can start working on those things today. And if you think that those are things that you cannot fix yourself, you think you need a medical professional, you think you need a lot of money, you're wrong. Unless you have extreme health conditions, extreme biological variance that causes you to be in a very unique boat, you're wrong. You can absolutely take your health into your own hands. I would probably say 50% of people who are on a medication, mental health or physical, could be off that medication in a year to 6 months, guaranteed, if they took their health into their own hands. And again, I'm saying that as someone with a modest but a legitimate medical background. Furthermore, what he said about mindset, about having a mindset of being grateful and a do it anyway attitude, a get up and do it self-discipline attitude, a do the hard thing even if it's hard, even if you don't want to attitude, and being grateful that you can do it and that you get to do it and that the results are going to be good. Jordan Peterson, again, talks a lot about this. Even if it's something very small. If you've been in bed for weeks from depression, or if you're so anxious you can't leave your house, get out of bed and brush your teeth and take a shower. Just do that. You can go right back to bed. Just get out of bed, brush your teeth, take a shower, maybe drink some water, and go back to bed. Don't rely on someone to come in and sponge bathe you or bring you water or whatever your situation is. I know it's hard, but just do that. And then tomorrow, maybe get out of bed, brush your teeth, shower, drink some water, and walk around the house. Stretch your limbs. You see where I'm going. Every day, you just escalate it a little more. And just push yourself. You don't have to push yourself much. An inch. Push yourself an inch further than you did yesterday. Today. If you're anxious, you can't leave your house, take one step outside your front door. If that's too hard, look out the window. If looking out the window is uncomfortable, look out the window for 1 minute. The next day, look out the window for 2 minutes. Or 1 minute, 10 seconds. The next day, 1 minute, 20 seconds. Whatever incremental progress you have to make that incremental progress. You can do it. You can find some level of progress that is achievable for you. I know it's hard. God knows I know it's hard. When I was trying to quit cocaine, when I was recovering from my fiance leaving, when I was attempting suicide, progress seemed like it was never going to come. But it did. One step at a time. One counseling meeting at a time. One trip to the gym at a time. One decision not to do a rail of cocaine at a time. And eventually I rewired my brain. I got off my chemical dependence. I stopped constantly dwelling on bad thoughts. I stopped being chemically hijacked by my trauma neural pathways, and I got over my childhood trauma to a large extent. These things are possible. And you can do them by yourself. And if you need some help, get some help. Find a mental health professional who has similar values, who can speak your language, who can get through to you in a way that's meaningful to you. As a conservative Christian, I recommend faithful counseling. Faithful counseling was a godsend, no pun intended. Things do get better, but only if you make them better. You know, that's one of those trite truisms that people throw around in the mental health conversation. Things get better only if you make them better. Only if you make them better. And here's the great news. You can absolutely make them better. You just have to try a little harder than you did yesterday, every day. I know it's hard. I struggle with it now. If you want to ask me any kind of question, please ask me in the comments. And if you want to interact with me live, you can join me over on Twitch very shortly. We're going to be streaming to Kick and Rumble as well. And if nothing else, have a great day. Do something good for yourself today. Go on a walk, eat a salad, drink some extra water, and maybe Google how to begin weaning yourself off your medication. And don't let anyone tell you can't, because you absolutely can. Godspeed. God bless. Welcome to the adventure.